Okay, the next lesson is getting started on solving some word problems that have percentages in them. So, percentages are used very frequently in real life. If you watch the news or read anything, you'll realize how often they're used. Um, and they can be solved a couple different ways. The first one is a percent. I'm just going to use the percent symbol. Set up a percent proportion, and I'm going to do that because I'm running out of room. So, it's a percent proportion. And so you use this formula. And if we think about this formula, the percent over 100 never changes. This part is always the same. The hundreds all, and it doesn't matter. We can put part over whole here and percent over 100 here. It doesn't matter what side, just like when we did proportions last unit. But the 100 always stays the same. If you find the percent in the problem, it always goes on top. And then you have your part and your whole. And then we also can do a percent equation. And then you solve for the missing value. The only time I ever do that is like in the handout two before this, when we did like if it was 30% of 80. That's the only time I use this, if it's pretty clear cut. So then I do 0.30 times 80. Otherwise, I always use the proportion. Okay, so we'll do a few of these together. Seventh grade class held an end of the year dance. Of the 300 seventh graders, 246 decided to attend. What percent attended? So if we set up the proportion, I always get that part first. And I think, did they tell me the percent? They did not, because it says what percent. So that's where my X is going to go, or just leave it blank. And then remember, the whole is on the bottom. So it says of the 300. So that's your total. And then 246 decided to attend. So what percent attended? And make sure you read the words, because sometimes they'll try to trick you and say what percent didn't attend. And then we're going to do cross multiply and divide. And we get 82. And our question says what percent? So we need to make sure we have the percent sign in our answer. A farmer decides to sell 32 pounds of his small 96-pound potato crop. What percent? So again, and you can pause it and do this on your own. Okay, and then it says of his 96, so 96 is the total, and he's selling 32. Cross multiply and then divide by 96. And your answer is exactly is 33.3 repeating percent. But you can round that to 33 if you want, or it could be 33 and a third. Number 3, on an average Saturday, 15% of tickets sold are child's tickets. If there were 460 tickets sold, how many were sold to children? So on this one, I'm going to put my 100 down for my percent, and they give me 15%. So that should be easy. And we don't turn it to a decimal or anything. We just leave it, because 15 over 100 is the same as 15%. And then it says if there were 460 tickets sold. So that tells me that's the total. How many were sold to children is my X. That's what I'm trying to find. Cross multiply and divide, and we get 69 child tickets. Remember to label it so you make sure it makes sense. And 15% isn't very much, so that would make sense. Campus demographics include 480 female students. This represents 64% of the student body. How many are enrolled? So this is a tricky one. 480 is girls out of the total. So we want to know the total. So that's where my X goes. And the answer would be 750 when you cross multiply and divide. Okay, Trisha made 56% on her science test. So right away, I know to do that. If she got 14 problems correct, how many were on the test? So 14 was out of the total. And it would be 25 questions. I'm just going to put a Q. And I forgot to put S up here for students. Okay, next one. Some of them get a little bit tricky. It says Jed owns a music store and has taken inventory to prepare for a new order. He has organized the count of instruments in the table below. Help him analyze his store and place an upcoming order. So you're going to find the percent of the store that each category of instruments comprises. So let's think about what this chart means. So current inventory means what he has now. He has 65 string, 90, 159, 186 here. So go ahead and pause it to try to figure it out. And I'm going to write them in, and then we'll talk about them. Remember to use your percent proportion. Okay, so I set up the proportion for percussion instruments. So basically all of them are going to be the same. You're going to have your X over your 100 because you're finding the percent. And then you're going to have whatever instrument. So percents or percussions is 90. And then you need to have the total of all of these on the bottom. And I guess I forgot to find that total, but you should be able to do that. And then this would be 18%. Brass is going to be 37.2, or you can just do it to 37. This is going to be 31.8, and this is going to be 13. Again, the total of all those added up would be on the bottom. So based on the previous sales, Jed determines that he would like to order 30% more percussion instruments. So how many should he order? Well, if he already has 90 and he wants 30% more of that, so he wants 30% of 90 more. So this is that one where I just turned 30% to 0.30 times 90. And that would be 27. So he wants to buy 27 more. That would be 30%. After the order arrives, Jed has a total of 130 string instruments. What percent of his string instruments are new? So go ahead and pause it if you need to figure that out. So he had 65, and now he has 130. So 130 minus 65 is, that would be 10, that would be 12, 65. So what percent of his string instruments are new? 50% of them. Okay, Southbrook Middle School tabulates the number of students who participate in the school athletic program. They have displayed the percentage of students who participate in the table. So remember, always look at the table and think about what information you're getting. So you have your number of students, some that don't participate, only one sport, two sports, three or more. So it says if Southbrook Middle School has 850 total students, how many students participate in the various number of sports? So on this, we're already given the percentage. So we'll do only one sport. So over here we have 42 over 100. And then 850 is going to be your total every time. And then for only one sport, that's where we're putting our X. And that's how you'll set it up every single time except with the different percentages. And so go ahead and figure those out. So only one sport should have been 357. And make sure you're pausing this and figuring these out. 238 and 102. Okay, so go ahead and make sure that you're doing the homework for this lesson also and writing down what you're doing.